Hi, my name is Mary Peterson, and this is my final project presentation for the CIT 260 course. I was partners with Diana Hughes, and we worked on the Revenge of Merek game. So I wanted to start my project out with the different items in the rubric. And so this first item in the rubric was to explain the difference between a static class variable and a class non-static variable, and then give examples of each. So the difference between them are static functions are allowed because they are not associated with an object instance. They are final, meaning that a value must be assigned to the variable when it is defined. They must have a code block. Values of static variables cannot be changed. Non-static functions, on the other hand, cannot be defined and have a code block after the function signature in an interface class. In the example here, you see a getArea function. It is a non-static function because it has a code block after the function signature. The other functions, getPerimeter, getVolume, and draw, are static because they do not have a code block after the function signature. Okay, for this next part, I wanted to focus on the next item on the rubric. Demonstrate through examples from your programming your understanding of when to use an array versus an array list versus an enum. An array is used to model a fixed length list of objects or values that can be changed. The list is fixed length. I want to remind and emphasize. An array list is a variable length list that may contain different types of objects. Objects can be added to or removed from this list at any time. An enum is a type of list that has a fixed length list where all of the objects in the list are the same type. But unlike an array, the objects in the list can never be changed. Arrays and enums can be much more efficient to use because the number of items is fixed. They are good for that. However, they are also hard to use when it comes to adding and deleting items from the list. So in that case, an array list would be better to use. This is an example of an array from our game. This is from the create scenes function and the create scenes array. And this makes the different scenes in our game. And this is not all of them, but this is just a few. The forest scene, the start scene, the mountain scene, all of those different scenes. Okay. So this is an array list. With an array list, it's defined by array list, and then this section, the weapon, and the weapons. So this is an example of an array list from the examples that were given to us in class. This is the example that has the inventory items in that game that was in the list. Okay, this next slide shows an example of an enum from our game. This is the enum from the actor class, and this is the bandit, extra crucius, Gisela. These are the different actors in our game, and this is an enum. Okay, this shows how to use, this is the next item on the rubric. Okay, so this is the demonstrate through examples of code that you have written for one of your individual assignments, your understanding of how to use a basic for statement and an index to go through and access each element stored in an array or array list. So how to use an index is to go through and access each element stored in an array list. The index keeps track of the positions of the items in an array list. When you add functions to an array list, the index positions them accordingly, assigning them a number. The number that they are assigned is the element's position in the array. The index starts at 0, so the number 1 position will have an index of 0, and the number 2 position will have an index of 1. And this is an example of a basic for statement that is part of the game. So the part of our game. This is the get sorted inventory list, and this sorts the different inventory that we have in our game. And just like I said with the index, it sorts it by number, assigning it a number and giving it a position in the index. Okay, and this is an example. Geez. Chad, can you